I arrived at the Nexlify Solutions office in downtown Austin a few minutes before 8:55, not because I was trying to impress anyone, but because I craved those last quiet moments before the chaos began. The building still carried the faint chill of overnight air conditioning, and the only sound was the low hum of sleeping computers and that one stubborn vent in the ceiling that always clicked like it was sending secret messages. Today felt different, though. There was this heavy, waiting kind of silence hanging in the open-plan space. The kind that makes the hairs on your arms stand up like something unseen is about to snap. I walked straight to my cubicle with my lukewarm oat milk latte in hand, already mentally mapping out the day's code reviews and dashboard tweaks. My job as a senior data engineer wasn't glamorous, but it was mine. I kept the systems running smoothly while others chased the spotlight. Then I saw it. A bright yellow sticky note curled at the edges, held by cheap tape right in the center of my monitor. Loser. Written in thick black marker. All caps. Jagged edges like the person had been smirking the whole time. No explanation. No signature. Just that single word hanging there like a slap. The snickers started almost immediately. A wet, stifled laugh from over by the printer. Then a fake cough to cover it. I didn't turn around. I didn't need to. I could feel the eyes peeking over the cubicle walls, waiting for me to crack. My stomach twisted, but I didn't let it show. Instead, I just stood there, coffee still in my grip, staring at the note like it was some kind of puzzle I needed to solve. Something inside me shifted in that moment. Not tears. Not rage that would give them the reaction they wanted. Just this slow, burning smile that felt like acid on my lips. The kind of smile that says you've crossed a line you can't uncross. I reached out deliberately, peeling the note off with 2 fingers, the tape making a sharp rip that cut through the giggles like a knife. I held it up for a second, examining it like it was art, then folded it once, twice, into tiny perfect squares. I dropped it into the trash can beside my desk without a word, logged into my computer. The laughter died into an awkward hush. No one knew what to do when the target didn't flinch or cry or run to HR. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Chad from sales bite his lip hard. Karen from HR muttered something under her breath that sounded like disappointment. They had no idea what that note really meant to me. It wasn't the first time. It was just the loudest punctuation on years of smaller cuts. Like the time Mike took full credit in the quarterly meeting for the compliance dashboard I'd spent 3 weekends building alone, right down to the color scheme and alert logic. Or when marketing left me off the launch distribution list, then blamed me publicly for a typo that nearly cost us a major client. Karen's little smirks whenever I spoke up in meetings, calling me harmless like I was furniture. Promotions passing me by while louder voices got the glory. Solutions I suggested whispered back later by someone else as their own brilliant idea. I sat there chewing my sandwich in the half-empty cafeteria later that morning, letting them think I was sulking. The turkey on rye tasted like cardboard, but I ate it anyway. The truth was heavier. I was done being the reliable shadow. The one who fixed bugs at midnight without complaint. The one who built the foundation but never got invited to the table. That note wasn't random. It was the breaking point. I wasn't going to HR. Their investigations always ended with a team-building email and the victim labeled emotional. No. I had receipts. Code commits with my timestamps. Slack logs of harassment and gaslighting. Warnings about data vulnerabilities ignored for months. An email from our biggest client praising my work specifically when the team had nearly lost them due to sloppy security. My fingers hovered over the keyboard later that afternoon, tendons tight. I opened a new email to compliance@corp.nexlify.com. Subject: Urgent documented violations at Austin subsidiary. 4 tight paragraphs. Bullet points like daggers. Screenshots of Chad inflating sales metrics. Logs of Karen encouraging mockery of a colleague with accessibility needs. Server records showing Mike rolling back critical patches without client notice in violation of regulations. 9 months of my ignored warnings attached. A zipped folder with 97 meticulously organized files, spreadsheets, audio clips, PDFs, everything timestamped and categorized. I read it twice. No emotion. Just facts. My hand shook slightly as the cursor hovered over send. This wasn't a complaint. This was a match to dry tinder. I clicked. The email vanished into the ether. I leaned back, breath steady. The silence in the office roared louder now. The next move belonged to strangers in corporate suites far away. People who cared about liability, not cafeteria jokes. I didn't know if they'd act. But I knew fire doesn't ask permission when it finds fuel. And I just dropped the spark. The calendar invite appeared without warning the next morning. 15 minutes with Irene M. From Corporate Compliance Oversight. No agenda. Marked private. By mid-morning it had been forwarded multiple times, rippling down the chain like bad news traveling fast. Whispers spread through the halls. People walked quicker, heads down, conversations stopping cold when I passed. Slack channels went unnaturally quiet. The usual loud banter from the sales pod reduced to nervous pairs. I sat at my desk, sipping breakroom coffee that tasted like regret. Posture straight, face neutral. Inside I buzzed with a dark kind of calm. They were already flinching, and they didn't even know why yet. Someone muttered about a compliance sweep near the copier. Another was shushed aggressively after asking if it had something to do with client data. Karen cornered Mike in the hallway, hissing questions I pretended not to hear as I walked by with earbuds in. Playing nothing. 2 managers got pulled into closed-door meetings by lunch. When they emerged, their smirks were gone. I contact avoided. An all-hands email went out about data hygiene best practices that tried to sound routine but landed like a warning shot. Files started disappearing from shared drives. Long pauses before messages were sent. The scent of panic was unmistakable, like ozone before a storm. They still hadn't connected it to the loser note. No one dared mention it now. The quiet one wasn't crumbling. She was sipping coffee and working like nothing happened while the walls began to sweat. I felt their guilt projecting into the silence I left behind. Each closed door became a mirror they couldn't escape. They searched for a scapegoat, but the trap had already sprung. By afternoon, the first signs of fracture showed. 3 people were called into back-to-back sessions. When they came out, alliances were cracking. Chad tried blaming miscommunication. Mike pointed fingers at Karen. Karen forwarded old emails and raised her voice loud enough to echo. The office turned inward. Rats sensing the flood. I watched it all from my cubicle, making small updates to spreadsheets no one would notice. That's what I always did. Quiet. Thorough. Precise. The fire I'd lit was spreading structurally now. Contracts paused. Bonuses frozen. An emergency board call scheduled. And I felt stillness, like standing on high ground while the valley below burned. Satisfaction mixed with something surreal. Justice didn't look noble. It looked like chaos, burnt bridges, and panicked faces. The one they called loser sat watching, hands clean, match long discarded. That evening, the first approach came. Mike asked for a casual touch base in his office. The space smelled of sanitizer and fear. He offered vague praise, talked about the family culture, fished for information. I tilted my head, smiled observantly, said little. Transparency matters, he said. I agreed. Left him hanging. The offers escalated. Promotions. Raises. Retention bonuses wrapped in flattery. I listened, smiled coldly. Rejected cleanly. They wanted me to walk back the claims, smooth things over. I told them the truth hadn't been misconstrued. They just hadn't listened before. Wednesday brought the suits. For compliance, investigators arrived without fanfare. Gray attire and lanyard badges. By 9:30, the conference room was locked. Servers frozen. Inboxes archived. The rumor mill exploded. Audit. Seizure. Legal involvement. A major client froze contracts. An investor pulled funding. People quit or vanished into meetings. The office imploded. Chad blamed Karen publicly. Karen sobbed, then raged. Forwarding chains. Desks cleared. Boxes carried out marked with initials. Alliances shattered as everyone turned on each other. From my desk, I watched Greg, no, Mike, pace red-faced, shouting about leaked files while no one answered. They still didn't know it was me. The quiet one. The loser. I existed in the eye of the hurricane. Steady. Unnerving. The beauty was their ignorance. Every past slight now unraveled like thread on a nail. Whispers grew frantic. Closed doors hid shouting. The company's skeleton fractured under pressure. The first real bribe came from Mike again. Blinds closed. Phone off. Desperation in his voice. Clarify things. Help smooth with corporate. Promotion. Raise. Bonus. I smiled and asked if he wanted me to claim the fire was just candles. He paled. HR followed. A corporate rep this time. Incentives. NDA. Pathways. I almost laughed. These were the same people who ignored warnings, allowed mockery and theft. Now offering velvet chains. Temptation flickered. But I remembered the note. The laughter. The years. I wanted their memory of me to burn. I clarified I wasn't misunderstood. Stood and left. Friday, the office was a ghost town. Abandoned coffee. Cracked fridge. Silenced phones. My inbox overflowed with apologies. Desperate. Defensive. Begging. Subject lines screamed unraveling lives. I didn't open them. The tone said enough. Chad stood at my desk. Eyes red. Shoulders slumped. Stammered excuses. Mentioned kids. Losing everything. I let silence ache. Then said calmly he should have thought before the sign. He recoiled. Karen followed. Makeup smeared. Trying sisterhood. Project leads and Mike texted or DM'd. Blocked each one. I wasn't participating in their collapse. I was the boundary. Empowerment felt cold. Hollow-edged. But real. Not given. Taken because they lost it the moment they laughed. I printed my resignation. 2 sentences. Effective immediately. No further communication. Left it on Mike's empty desk. Half leadership suspended or under review. Plants wilted. Goals poster torn down. No one stopped me. Eyes avoided mine. I packed quietly. No box. No scene. Walked past abandoned cubicles. Ringing phones. Urgent subpoenas pinging. Outside, the Austin air felt crisp. I walked to my favorite coffee shop. Ordered dark roast without milk. Sat by the window facing the building. Open work email one last time. Over 300 frantic messages. Scrolled slowly. Deleted all. Sipped steadily. Watched the office implode in slow motion through the glass. Not with screams, but resignations. Exposed lies. Ethical shortcuts crumbling in daylight. No one saw me. I didn't need to be seen anymore. They called me loser. Funny how losers deliver the final word. Not with a bang, but precision. Silence. Grace that burned cold. Justice landed not as triumph, but avalanche of consequences. The question lingers, in offices everywhere. How many quiet ones hold matches, waiting for the right wind? Power hides best in stillness. And once claimed, it rarely forgives those who mistook silence for weakness.